After spending 83 billion US dollars, 20 years of training, the Afghan army of 300,000 fell like a pack of cards. It took the Taliban only 20 days to rout this army and take over Afghanistan. The Taliban spokesman claimed most of the cities were taken without a fight. What's happening? Why didn't the Afghan army offer any resistance? Let's find out. This might be a shocker to all, but it's true. In spite of the Americans supplying the Afghan army with weapons, most of the high-end weapons like the F-15 fighter jets, the MQ-9 Reaper drones, cruise missiles and even the M1 Abraham tanks were under the operational command of the US Army and not with the Afghan army. When the Americans left, the Afghan National Army had 44 main battle tanks which were composed of the old T-55 and T-62 Soviet-made battle tanks. Their main artillery was a Soviet-made 122mm D-30 howitzer. They also had 2,214 US-made howitzers. What you see in large numbers are the 8,500 US-made Humvees and 155 MRAPs. The small arms were a mix of Soviet and US-made weapons. The Afghan Air Force consisted of 242 aircrafts. The main attack planes were the 20 A-29 Super Tucano light attack aircrafts, 68 MD-500 Defender helicopters, and 8 Mi-24 attack helicopters. The rest of the aircrafts were either utility or transport planes. For example, there were 95 Mi-17 helicopters used mainly for transport. During the recent war with Taliban, some Afghan pilots fled the country, taking an unknown number of aircrafts including the A-29s with them. The Taliban did not have any of these weapons, but what they lacked was offset by their determination to fight to death. The Afghan army was trained to fight like Americans. The Americans fought their wars in the high-tech way. Air cover was the heart of their strategy. All military operations were accompanied by air cover. The American army used satellite imagery and drones to plan and execute their missions. When the Americans withdrew from Afghanistan, the Afghan army lost their air cover. This was a big blow to their operations. In fact, the American army evacuated Afghanistan at night without even informing the Afghan military leadership. This was a great blow to the morale of the Afghan forces. The Afghan army's top leadership was very corrupt. The army is supposed to have 300,000 men, but the actual number is very low. There is widespread corruption in Afghan's defense and interior ministries, where funds, ammunition and food deliveries were stolen before reaching the soldiers on the ground. The ammunition and other equipment were sold on the black market, eventually ending up in Taliban's hands. Furthermore, some commanders embezzled money by submitting fund requests for the salaries of ghost soldiers, that is, soldiers who had not actually signed up for the military. As this was happening, many army personnel were kept unpaid and retained on duty without permission to leave and see their families for months. Unsurprisingly, the Afghan army has one of the highest attrition rates in the world. According to one estimate, the Afghan army per month attrition rate was 5,000, whereas the recruitment rate was 300 to 500. The embezzlement and corruption undermine morale within the ranks of the army. The integrity of the senior leadership is pivotal in military affairs to win the troops' respect and loyalty. For unpaid soldiers, the lavish lifestyle of their commanders were often too much to swallow. Hence, instead of fighting and dying, they preferred to save their lives by surrendering to the Taliban under its amnesty offers. The Afghan army had no sense of nationalism or belonging. In fact, there was a significant mistrust towards a country's political leadership. No Afghan soldier was ready to fight and die to defend President Ashraf Ghani or the government. Conspiracy theories about a secret deal between the Afghan government and Taliban were rife among the Afghan troops. This environment of doubt and suspicion further undermined the Afghan soldiers' resolve to resist the advance of the ideologically cohesive Taliban, whose fighters were driven by a desire to establish an Islamic emirate and drive out foreign troops whom they saw as occupiers. The Taliban's smart military strategy of taking control of major border crossings, main highways, and besieging the big cities crippled Kabul's ability to send reinforcement and supplies. Many army units were cut off from the rest of the country and thus were forced to either flee across the border to the neighboring countries or to dissolve. Most of the equipment used by the Afghan Army and Air Force was serviced by US military contractors. When the US decided to leave Afghanistan, the military contractors also left with them, thereby crippling the ANA war effort. The Afghan Army's collapse shows how a better equipped army with superior weaponry but low in morale and motivation can be routed by an ill-equipped but highly motivated insurgent group like the Taliban. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.